Hi there, happy Monday. We're joining you for another update on Fox 35 Weather Plus here, Fox Local, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm Storm Team Meteorologist T.J. Springer. If you've been watching us, maybe you watched us earlier at 3:30, we've been talking about this blast of cold air. Well, we're already tracking yet another cold front and a stronger one at that, another storm system that could really bring us some of the coldest air we've seen in a long time, in a decade possibly, or longer than that really, 16 years essentially. It'd be a decade plus. So a lot to unpack. We've had cold infiltrating much of the country with this major winter storm that is still working off the East Coast, some snow up to the north. So we'll talk a little more about that, where the snow is still coming down, and we'll start to look at the cold outbreak that looks to unfold across much of the nation later on this weekend. So that is what we're going to talk about. So bring your questions. If you have anything on the top of your mind, please let me know. And we'll be hanging out for a little while. So hopefully I can answer as much as I possibly can. So here is Fox 35 tracker radar right now, and there's that system, the one that brought all the snow, still snowing too, believe it or not, across portions of New England, from Portland, Maine, down through Boston. Some snow showers still across upstate New York, northwestern PA, even the Appalachians of West Virginia through western Virginia, even a couple of snow showers popping up, flurries in northwestern South Carolina and western North Carolina. Cold to say the least. And as we were just saying, we're not done yet. We are clearing out quickly here in the Sunshine State. There's the cold front. A couple of showers south of that across some of the Bahamas. And now we'll focus on the clearing and the cold air that we'll have tomorrow. It is a storm team alert day, and just the one of a few coming down the pike. And while I'm thinking about it, let me tweak something here real fast. I do want to bring up all those cold alerts, but I just want to make sure we have everything set up like we want it here. And again, if you're just hopping on, we're live on Fox Local, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on Facebook. Okay. Let me check one thing here before we go on. I'm seeing a couple of looks like one comment. So that is great. Love to see that. Trying to make sure I have this right on the 7-day forecast here. And I was talking about this earlier. I am kind of excited for the cold, I have to say, just because of growing up in the Mid-Atlantic. I'm always a fan of the chill. Love grabbing a heavy jacket and some jeans, but you'll definitely need that tomorrow morning and much of this week for sure. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, we should be good to go. Just wanted to make sure we were ship-shape logistically speaking. Okay, so let's talk about some of the winter weather alerts that are still in play across the nation. Extreme cold warnings still for millions of people. That includes Dallas, Houston, all of Arkansas, Memphis, New Orleans, and us in Florida as well. The Panhandle under extreme cold warnings right now, including the state capital. We have cold weather advisories, and we also have freeze warnings as well. And believe it or not, still winter storm warnings up across Maine, and winter weather advisory for the snow that is continuing to come down. Okay, let me bring back up Facebook here. Autumn is asking, how cold are we expecting Sunday to be in Orlando? Autumn, great question. Ty, getting snow in Ocala on Saturday. So it's funny, myself and Noah, we were just talking about that, and Brooks as well. So, I mean, the conditions, as you know, have to be so right to get snow here in the Sunshine State, just like last year when we had that record-breaking snow across the Panhandle. We have an upper level low that's going to dive into our neck of the woods. Depending on how far deep it dives across the country, when it starts to tilt, will allow that area of surface low pressure to form. There's a lot of question marks, but let's just say there is a possibility of flurries, at least, in the southeast, and maybe accumulating snow across the southeast as well. So whether that be Florida, the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic, that all will get ironed out in the days ahead. But one thing is for sure, we are going to have the cold air. And, of course, what do you need for snow? Cold air. Temperatures right now behind the cold front that has been moving through over the last 24 hours, the same one that was associated with all of that snow and wintry weather across the country, is now starting to make its presence known in Central Florida. Temperatures in Gainesville almost 30 degrees colder compared to this time yesterday. Minus 22 in Orlando, 15 degrees colder just about in Cocoa Beach and Melbourne, which translates to temperatures now down into the 40s in Gainesville, and we're dropping quickly. Now 57 in Orlando, and the wind is starting to come in from the northwest now. So that's pulling in that colder, drier air. It's supposed to sustain around 10 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts even higher than that. So that's going to make for these brutal feeling wind chills as we progress through the remainder of the night into our Tuesday. And I actually want to pull up and see if we're starting to feel any colder of conditions with the wind chills. Yeah, look at the wind chills now. It feels like 41 in Gainesville. So we're starting to get in on that chill little by little. Let me pull up YouTube, see if anybody has any comments. Hey, Brian, how are you? Lived in Daytona, but now back in Chicago. Difficult to find cold weather clothes at this. You know what? It's funny, Brian. I haven't been shopping in a moment. I mean, I have, just because I've lived in much colder locales than Central Florida and have tracked many a snowstorm or an ice storm. I have a lot of cold weather gear at the house. It's funny, when I was tracking that snow last year in Tallahassee and the Panhandle, I already had snow pans, had all the winter weather accessories, but that's a good question. I'm kind of curious if the stores have some winter weather stuff. I'd hope they would. I can only imagine how much colder it feels back in Chicago. Oh, my goodness. Sending you all the sunshine state of mind vibes here in Central Florida, that's for sure. Thanks for hopping on. Okay, so the cold for us, we have the Fox 35 Storm Team Alert tomorrow morning, and again, that's just one of many to come. Temperatures going to be, so it depends on where you are. I know it's a wide range of temperatures, but we do have freeze warnings. Where the freeze warnings are in play, temperatures will be much colder north and west of Orlando, but near the coast, it's still going to be above freezing, places like Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Palm Bay, but wind chills are going to be down around freezing, if not below. Wind chills may even sneak into the upper teens across some of our northwestern locales, across Alachua County, Levy County, Dixie County, north and west of Gainesville. And let's show you those temperatures. It kind of tells the story a little better. North and west of Orlando, temperatures down around freezing. The Villages, DeLand, Ocala, but notice it's a little bit milder from Titusville southbound through Brevard, southern and central Brevard County, Melbourne, St. Cloud, Kissimmee, even mid to upper 30s. But here are the wind chills. This is the bigger story because, it doesn't, it matters what the temperature gets to, but it also matters on how it actually feels out there. So that's something we will continue to watch. But even tonight at 11 o'clock, if you're watching the late news at 11, feeling like 29 degrees in Gainesville. So if you have to get out, walk the dog, get out and cover up the plants, even doing something quickly outside, be sure you're bundling up. Around 41 in Orlando, 38 in New Smyrna. And then by tomorrow morning, I'm just cold looking at it. Feels like 18 in Gainesville, possibly. 26 in Orlando, 20s from Palm Coast to the land. It's going to feel brutal. Brutal for Florida standards. And that's all I can say, because I know it's a lot colder north and west of us. but it's going to be cold here as well, and even wind chills in the 30s still by just about lunchtime tomorrow, 40s and 50s for wind chills as we progress through tomorrow evening. There are the freeze warnings. That includes inland Volusia County, Lake County, Sumter County, Marion County, up into Alachua, Levy, Dixie, and Gilchrist counties, all of our Fox 51 locales. Cold weather advisories for the wind chills that are down in the 20s and 30s for Seminole County, Brevard County, Osceola County, and Polk County as well. And we'll likely continue to see these get reissued as we progress through the week, especially over the next couple of days. So that's why we have the storm team alert for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning for the freezing conditions, especially north and west of Orlando. But we're expecting those wind chills in the 20s either way. Highs will struggle tomorrow, only going to get into the lower to middle 50s for the bulk of the Fox 35 viewing area. Going to be bright at least, though. I mean, you know me, I'm always trying to find the glass half full moments, trying to find the sunshine in the gloom, so to speak. So it'll at least be bright. If you have plans, maybe you're here visiting, maybe you're trying to get out to the theme parks, grab the heavier jacket. Won't be good on the beach, that's for sure. Tomorrow night, likely freeze warnings again for Lake, Volusia, Flagler, Marion, Alachua counties with cold weather advisories farther south and east across the Orlando metro. And then again into our Thursday morning, same story. Storm team alerts, Claremont 33, Leesburg 32, the Villages 29, 36 in Daytona Beach. All right, welcome back, Fox Local friends. I believe we just got back from a quick little break because we're going kind of on the fly here. Not exactly sure what those break times are, but I believe we'll hit again. We'll take another break at around 7:52, if I'm not mistaken. So if you are watching at home, maybe on your smart TV, on your iPad, tablet, phone, whatever, wherever you're getting Fox Local, which we appreciate, we'll have another break coming up in just a little bit. Now, if you are watching on Fox Local and you want to ask any questions, please do so. Hop on Facebook, hop on YouTube. Kellyanne, how are you? You're saying you hate the cold. Where are you watching from, Kellyanne? I know a lot of us here in Florida are not fans of the cold. Maria Santana, how are you? Love it. Wear synthetic under a wool in your goal. Yeah. Yeah, I have my heavy Fox 35 Columbia jacket that I'm sure I'll be wearing. I do have a nice, I believe it's wool, a heavy toggle jacket that I love to pull out of the closet. So I'll be doing that for sure. Okay, so that's kind of a breakdown of the next few days temperature-wise. And you can see we're going to be well below normal. And we'll be getting a little warmer, dare I say, a little warmer on Friday and Saturday. But I'm using that term loosely because even those temperatures are still running around 10 degrees below where we should be. Average is 50. We'll be around 40 on Friday and 43 Saturday morning. Okay, so now on to the big question. We're already looking ahead at our next storm system, and I'm sure you've already seen things all over social media about the four-letter S word. Yes, snow. So is it possible? What could we see with this developing storm system? And as I was saying earlier on, if you missed what I was saying, maybe you're just hopping on now, a lot has to come together for us to see snow in Florida, plain and simple. I mean, any time, even this last system, when you're talking about a system where little nuances can change so much of how a system develops and the precipitation type, it's winter weather forecasting can be it can be a really humbling experience. So it's one of those things that challenges all of us as meteorologists because, again, the atmosphere is constantly changing. It's a dynamic system. And little tweaks, little nuances can change everything about a system. So, hey, Jadwell, how are you? Thanks for hopping on. Yeah, you're asking about snow in Orlando. So, is the possibility of snow on the table in the southeast? Yes. Now, for us in Orlando, we will just have to wait and see. But I do think that chances for flakes across the southeast are there. That includes Georgia, that includes the Carolinas, that includes Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. A lot of the hard-hit areas that saw snow this past weekend, or ice, or sleet, could see it again. And depending on how the upper level portion of the system behaves, how far south that disturbance upstairs in the atmosphere gets, when the surface area of low pressure starts to form, all of these question marks that we will be looking at and trying to fine tune over the next couple of days, that will play a role on who gets the snow and when. And it also will play a role in how cold our temperatures get, because if this system really deepens off the Atlantic coast, it yanks that cold air around it, and that cold air just sinks southbound. Now, remember, too, with the wind blowing from the north-northwest around that system, that cold air is blowing over all of the areas that were hard hit with snow, ice, sleet. So that, in turn, makes the air a little colder as well. So let me play this. This is the chances of snow greater than 6 inches. And this is from data that we often look at to get a handle on how the atmosphere will play out. We call this an ensemble blend. So when we say ensemble, it takes a lot of different scenarios in the atmosphere, kind of blends them together, tweaks little parts and pieces of the atmosphere, and then it gives us a scenario of how things may play out. So with this, you see the potential for snow across the East Coast as we head through this upcoming weekend. But watch. Again, this is accumulating snow, so a lot of snow, 6 inches or greater. It shows higher chances across the Mid-Atlantic. And even North Carolina, Raleigh, Greenville, New Bern, Virginia Beach, chances up around 40 to 50%. So maybe even 60%. But notice Atlanta, South Carolina, Columbia, Myrtle Beach, chances are down to around 10 to 20%. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't see flurries or maybe snowfall that doesn't hit a half a foot, because that's a lot of snow any place across the country. But it just goes to show how cold the air is going to be when you have at least the potential for, data showing the potential for snow over 6 inches, even though it's only a 10% chance. So, I mean, the area to watch is certainly going to be the Mid-Atlantic and North Carolina, even up into New England again. Much of the East Coast will need to watch this system. And again, just because we're a week out, there will be changes, just like we saw with this past system. Griselle, how are you? You're saying, I have a pool. What do you recommend I do? You don't have a cover. Now, that's a good question, because I have to say, I'm not terribly versed in pools. Where are you at, Griselle? I guess that'll be my first question. And I guess if your pool's heated, it depends on where you are, because if temperatures are down below freezing, I assume, just like pipes, you want to have a little drip on your pipes. I assume, the pipes around your pool system could get impacted by the cold, but I don't want to say, because I'm not terribly versed in that arena. I don't have a pool. I've never owned a pool, but I know that pools, pipes, and cold air do not mix. I can say that much. Kathy, how are you? You don't want the cold, prefer the 50s. Yeah, I feel ya. Oh, you're in Florida. Cool, but have family in PA, Ohio, New York, and Tennessee. Love that. Black ice most dangerous on the roads. Oh my goodness. Yeah, 1,000%. Grizzly, you're in Orlando. Okay. So tonight will likely be above freezing in Orlando, and even tomorrow night and Wednesday night into Thursday will likely stay just above freezing in Orlando. But this weekend, that is not looking like the case. So we'll show you that here in a second. Wanted to show you those temperatures because this is how much we're going to be below normal. Those shades of purples and pinks, that just goes to show how much colder than normal we're going to be. And essentially 20 to 30 degrees below normal is what we're expecting. Hey Clifford, how are you? Thanks for hopping on. Shout out to you and DeLand. I love it. DeLand is awesome. Okay, so let's go through time here. Through the remainder of the week, the purples, the blues, the pinks, they stay. Temperatures well below normal. I mean, look at Lexington, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Minneapolis, single digits, going to be really cold. KC, Little Rock, Memphis, teens, 20s as we head through Friday. But watch what happens. You can see all the purple as we head into the weekend. That's that cold blast. You can see the developing system on the coast, helping to pull that colder air into the upper Midwest, into the Mid-Atlantic, into the South, and into the Southeast. So it is going to be brutally cold as we kick off February and head into the first few days of the new month. And it looks like for us, that is going to be record-breaking cold. So since records have been recorded, since we've been recording weather history and weather data, since 1893, the coldest high for February 1st was 48 degrees, or is 48 degrees. That was set back in 1936. Now, the coldest low, that was 28 back in 1936 and 1909, respectively. So, with our setup this weekend, it's looking like we could beat both of these records. Kelly, how are you? Michael, hi, thanks for hopping on, and thanks for the comment, because you're... I did not want to steer you wrong, Roselle. I know we have a pool in our community, and I don't even know if that will be covered. I'm not entirely sure. But Michael's saying he leaves his pool on all night and have never had a problem. So that is good to know. Because I've always kind of wondered that myself. But pipes, like if you do leave a slight drip on the faucets, the faucet, shower head, essentially anything, I think that's a good idea, though, especially for areas that are under the freeze warning north and west of Orlando. So record-breaking cold on the docket as we progress through Sunday. And possibly area-wide. This is just for the Orlando area, so I think many of us going to be shattering records as we progress into this upcoming weekend and kick off February. So let's go through some of the bitter wind chills here, shall we? Minus 13 in Chicago. Oof. Minus 4 in Bismarck. Sioux City, Iowa, my old stomping grounds where I used to work. Brutally cold. Through the week, wind chills staying sub-zero in places like Chicago. New York, minus 8. It's just going to feel downright frigid across the northern and eastern tier of the nation. Now, watch what happens even for us. We start to see a little, dare I say, a slight warm-up. And I'm using that term so loosely because we're still going to be below average on Friday by almost 10 degrees. But then we see this dip in the jet stream, and then the cold air just spills in, and we see wind chills from Birmingham, Alabama, to Paducah, to Wichita, Kansas, to Richmond, Virginia, sub-zero. And then for us, we start to see wind chills in the teens and single digits as we get into our Sunday. And probably even Monday morning as well. It's just going to be a brutal stretch across the eastern third of the nation, eastern half of the nation, really. Kelly, don't want to get on the cold school bus in the morning. Wish I could call it. Kelly, I don't blame you. I'm with you. I'm going to be bundling up myself. I actually have an appointment early in the morning, so I will be bundled up right there with you. Grizel, of course. Tina, yeah, I'll pop up the 7-day here in just a second. I'll be hanging out for the next, 4 minutes or so. Right at 8 o'clock, we'll hop off, so I'll try to answer some questions. Robert, you're saying some of my employees think it will snow Sunday morning. And work's canceled on Monday. No, I don't think so. I don't think that'll be the case. So let your employees know. I'll just say it's not impossible to get some flurries or a snow shower, but a lot has to come together. So we will continue to watch. That is for sure. Cold perspective-wise, because this is going to be such a long cold stretch, cold snap, so to speak, the longest stretch with temperatures at or below 65 degrees. Now, I was looking at high temperatures, was back in January 2010. So this is when we had that big cold snap, and it was over 10 years ago, over a decade ago. And for us, highs over the next 7 days will likely be at or below 65. That's what we're looking at. And looking at that trend, so to speak, as you look at the 6 to 10 day period, there's a high likelihood we're going to be below normal. This includes this upcoming weekend. So we obviously know it's going to be really cold then. But even beyond that, as we head through the 8 to 14 day time frame, still a solid likelihood that our temperatures across a good bit of the Sunshine State remain at or below normal. So if you're not a fan of the cold, I'm sorry, but it's looking like we're going to be colder than normal for the foreseeable future, at least over the next couple weeks. And we'll have to see. I mean, there's some signals in the data that show other big dips in the jet stream. So I think we're going to. We've seen this a lot over the last few weeks. These big swings in temperatures. Obviously we were in the upper 80s across parts of Florida yesterday, including Orlando breaking a record, and now we're going to be back in the freezer. So it's a tale of two seasons, it seems, almost. So here is the 7-day forecast. Before we hop off, if anybody has any questions, I'll try to hit them here really fast. But you can see lows, the warmest they get, 43 Saturday morning out of that cold front. And then temperatures just tumbled, and that's when we're back into the mid-20s Sunday morning and again Monday morning. So we'll likely have to issue another storm team alert as we head into our Monday. But cold, cold, cold. Showers on Saturday as that area of low pressure looks to develop. And again, we'll be watching as temperatures fall if there's any sort of potential for snow north of us. So stay tuned. Joel, how's it going? Fort Wilderness, Disney, we are camping from the 1st to the 8th. Oh my God. Now, are you camping? Let me ask you, are you camping in a tent? Because that would be a valid question. I know you can have your campers and motorhomes and everything in the beautiful cabins, so I can only imagine how cold it'll be. Hey Melissa, how are you? Robert, yeah, remind them that they're not lizards in Miami. Yeah, I would be. I'm sure we're going to have falling iguanas in Miami. I'd be shocked if we didn't. Andrew, how are you, man? Thanks for hopping on. I'm sure you guys are tracking everything just as we are. Yeah, Robert, I agree with you. I mean, I was living it up last year when we had the snow in the Panhandle and we had the thunder truck up there. I couldn't believe that we saw that heavy of snow. Well, thank you to all of you for hopping on and bringing your questions and your comments. We'll continue to do these updates. And again, if you don't know, we do have our Fox 35 Weather Plus stream each and every weekday. That is at 3:30. Takes you right into the 407 to have a lot of fun with Marlisa. So it's the perfect hangout spot before you have fun with her show on the 407. But I hope you have a great night and stay warm. Bundle up out there.